Greetings and salutations. Today the Herminator is going to teach you how to factor four terms, and it's really blurry. I don't know why that's so blurry. It'll be less blurry when I write. What we have is 1x to the third minus 9x to the second plus 1x minus 9, okay? We need to factor this. This time, as you can see, there's four terms. Now, if there's four terms, we will not be doing the GCF. Here is what we will set up with four terms. Write this kind of small, too, because you're going to need a box down here somewhere. Okay? It's called grouping. What you do is you make a parentheses plus another parentheses. Do the plus sign. Then I'm going to write the same thing with little spaces in front. And then finally, we're going to have a space parentheses. So this is how you always set up grouping. Anytime there's four terms, this is how we do it. Okay? And I'll give you a little cheat sheet when we get more of that kind of stuff on it. And this is your kind of final thing for factoring. There's either two terms where you do GCF and then difference of perfect squares. There's three, do GCF T-chart, and then this is what we're going to do with four. And that's as high as it ever gets. Okay, now after that's done, what we're always going to need is a DOPS box. Okay. Now, here's how we execute this. We put 1x to the third minus 9x to the second. We just put the first two in. And then we put positive 1x minus 9. Okay? Now, you're going to underline each one because you're going to divide, but you're just going to look at these two first. Do you have a negative in the front? No. Do you have x on both? You do, but instead of just putting x down there, it has to be the x to the second, okay? So you need to put x to the second. Okay, and if you plug in 1 and 9 into the GCF calculator, it's just going to say 1, okay? But since I already have something down there, there's no point in putting the 1. Now over here, okay, now I'm over here. Do you have a negative in front? No. Do you have x on both lines? Nope, you can't put a negative, you can't put an x. If you plug 1 and 9 into the GCF calculator, it says 1. Now, normally when there's 1, we just don't do anything, but with this grouping, you need to put something down there, and you want to put 1, okay? Now, here's what happens. Whatever I'm dividing by here is going to go out into the space. Whatever I'm dividing by here goes into the space. Okay, now I execute my division. So I have the 1, and the x squareds can be canceled. They're identical. But that's still going to have x, 1x, minus 9, okay? Now over here, 1 divided by 1 is 1, and we're not putting an x down there, so we keep that x, minus 9, okay? Now I want you to look at that. Look at your two parentheses. Do they match? They do. So if they match, we're going to pull 1x minus 9 out there. Okay? Now, after that's been pulled out, you want to put an x through your parentheses. And what do we have left? We have x to the second and positive 1. So I put x to the second plus 1. Put that in parentheses. Now, here's how you do the DOPS. You're going to cross that off on this one because you have a plus. If you have a plus, you need to circle it because you cannot break that down. It's not a difference. Here you have a difference, and 9 is 3 times 3. 1 is 1 times 1, but x, if x doesn't have a power, that's not a perfect square. So we also need to circle that and cross this off, okay? Now, off to the side, you need to write the two things just circled. 1x minus 9 times x to the second plus 1. Okay, my next problem. Again, all these have four terms. You need to practice the grouping. So I put parentheses plus parentheses. The same thing with lines outside, and then a line and a parentheses. And then we're also going to need to consider DOPS, at least check for it after we do the grouping. Okay, difference of perfect squares. So I put 1x to the third minus 4x to the second, and then I put positive 3x minus 12. Okay, so right here we don't have the negative in front. We do have x on both these, so it's the smaller x we want to put there, which is to the second power. If you plug 1 comma 4 in, it's just going to say 1, so we don't need to put that if we already have put something down there. Okay, now in the other parentheses, do you have the negative in front? Nope. You got x on both? Nope. If you punch 3 comma 12 into the GCF calculator, it's going to give you 3. Okay? So I'm dividing by x to the second. That pops out. You're dividing by 3. That pops out. And these need to end up the same. Okay, so the x second can cross off. Okay, that's going to be 1. If I do x third divided by x a second, that's x. Minus 4. And over here, you get 1x minus 4. So what's in each parentheses? 1x minus 4. Okay, pull that out. And then cross those off. Okay. I have x to the second and a positive 3. So x second plus 3. Now we want to put that in parentheses. Okay, DOPS. Well, the one with a plus sign I circle. I cannot break that down. This has a minus. And yes, 4 is 2 times 2. 1 is 1 times 1, but just x. That's nothing times nothing, okay? So, cross that out and circle that. So your answer is 1x minus 4 times x to the second plus 3. Okay, plenty more where that came from. Holy cow, I got a lot of examples here. Assignments last 4 if you ever get bored here, okay? Factor the expression, okay? Grouping. I'm writing way too big, okay? Okay, and then we need to create a DOPS box. See if we end up with any difference of perfect squares. Okay, so I put 3x to the third plus 15x to the second, and then positive 2x plus 10. Okay, no negative in front. You do have x on both. I take the smaller one, x to the second. And 3 comma 15 is going to give you a GCF of 3, so we need to put 3 down there. Okay, no negative in front. You don't have x on both. And then if you go 2 comma 5, you're going to get 2. Okay, so I pull 3x to the second out, and I pull 2 out. 3 divided by 3 is 1. We can cross out those x's. And that's going to still have an x plus 5. The x is 1 away. And then this is the same thing, 1x plus 5. Okay, so in each parentheses we have 1x plus 5. What do I have left? I have 3x second plus 2. Okay, these are both pluses, so we circle them both, and we don't even consider the DOPS. Okay, so 1x plus 5 times 3x to the second plus 2. Okay, next one. And then we will do a little DOPS box down here. There might be one of these two things might be a DOPS. Okay, it's entirely possible. Okay, so I've got 1x cubed plus 1x squared, and then 2x plus 2. Okay, no negative here. I've got x's. I take the smaller one down here. 1 and 1 is a 1 GCF. I don't need that. Negative in front, no. You have x on both, no. 2 and 2 you can divide by 2. Okay, if you get the same number, I don't think the GCF calculator picks up the same number. You just divide by that number. So x seconds coming out, and the 2's coming out. It's going to be 1x, we can cross those out, plus 1. And that's also going to be 1x plus 1. So 1x plus 1 pulls out, because they're the same. And then I get x to the second plus 2. It seems to me both of these are additions, so we don't even consider adopts. So 1x plus 1 times x to the second plus 2. Okay. Let's keep it rolling, I guess. Okay. I'm going to do these for about 10 more minutes, and then I'm going to shut it off because I got way too many examples. Okay. It's good in a way, I guess you'll get it, but probably a little overkill. We always put question mark because we might not have it. Okay. So 1x to the third plus 7x to the second, and then positive 5x plus 35. Okay, negative in front, nope. We got x on both, and it needs to be to the second power. 1 and 7, the GCF's 1. Now negative here, nope. Do we have x on both? Nope. If you go 5, 35, you will see that 5 is the GCF. So x squared's out and 5's out. So it's going to be 1, x remains, plus 7, those cross out. That's going to be the same thing. So 1x plus 7, 1x plus 7, that is a match. And I have x second and positive 5, so x second plus 5. Okay, both of these are pluses, so I don't even consider that. So parentheses 1x plus 7 times x to the second plus 5. Okay, my next problem. Okay, and then DOPS. After you group, you always want to see if you have a possible difference of perfect squares. Okay. So 1x to the third plus 13x to the second, and then negative 5x minus 65. Okay, so no negative in front, but you got x on both, the second being your smallest. Okay. 1 and 13 is just going to give you 1. You do have a negative in front here, so we need 2 negatives. You're not going to put an x, but if you go 5, 65, you'll see it's 5. So x seconds out and negative 5's out. So I've got 1 with an x remaining plus 13, and cancel those. Okay. And then I've got 1 with an x remaining. Now, when I divide that, I need to divide negative 65 by negative 5, and that's positive 13. Okay. When we divide by negative, that's going to switch over to a plus. Okay, so 1x plus 13 comes out. Now I'm left with x to the second minus 5. Okay, now this is a plus. That's a minus, but 5 is not a perfect square. That's not up there as a perfect square, so circle that. Good. So I have 1x plus 13 times x to the second minus 5. Okay, next. All right, same thing here. I'm going to do these two, and then I think I'm going to call it good. I have way too many examples. And then the DOPS, we need to consider that. So far, I haven't had one. So I've got 2x to the third minus 3x to the second, and then 18x minus 27. Okay, don't have the negative. You got x on both, so we need to take it to the second, though. Okay, and then 2 and 3 is 1, so I don't need to put that. 18 and 27, okay, you're not going to have a negative, you're not going to have x, but if you punch in 18 comma 27, it's going to give you 9 back, okay? So x squared's out and 9's out. So that's 2x minus, cross those out, and it's 3. And that's going to be 2x minus 3. So what do I have on each parentheses? I have 2x minus 3, okay? And then I have x to the second plus 9. Well, the plus is circled. And the minus, that's 3. It's a difference, but 3 is not a perfect square. Okay? So cross it out. Now, one thing you're like, well, what if you do have a difference of perfect squares? Let's say that would have been a minus 9. Well, I would have went 3 times 3 and x times x, and I would have put x plus 3, x minus 3, and then I would have circled those. So I would have had that and those two to write off here. But it wasn't a minus, so I just... Okay, next, 5x to the third minus 4x to the second plus 25x minus 20. Again, 4 terms. You got to do the grouping method. That's what we call it. Okay, so I have 5x cubed minus 4x squared. And then I have positive 25x minus 20. Okay. No negative, but you got x cubed and x second, so x second is the one you take. I should not have circled that. Should have circled just that. And we'll cancel those. Okay. And over here, no negative. You don't have x on either one, on both. And then 25 and 5 is 5. Okay. So x second pops out and 5 pops out. So that's 5. There's going to be an x left over minus 4. And that's going to be the same thing. That's 5x minus 4. Okay, so those two are the same. So 5x minus 4. There's DOPS 2. Okay, and that's x second plus 5. Okay, well this is a plus, so we circle that. That's a minus, and 4 is 2 times 2, but 5 you can't get anywhere with, so we circle that. Okay. So I've got 5x minus 4 times x to the second plus 5. Okay. Let's see if there's any worth my time here. Not really. Okay. All right, go work on the assignment now. I will warn you on something. You're going to do this one, and you're going to punch in 1 and 4. You won't find a GCF, but you are going to have to. Here, I'll start this one. 1x third minus 14x second, and then 1x minus 14, just because I don't want people getting all flustered here. Okay. No negative. You got double x's, so I put x second, and 1 comma 14 is just 1, so I don't need to put a 1 if there's already something down there. Okay, negative in front, no. X on both, no. 1 and 14, the GCF is 1, but since we don't have anything down there, we actually need to put the 1, and the 1 pulls out, and x to the second pulls out. Okay.